Good morning, students. So, in the last video lesson, I explained to you about this program, right? The class clock. However, yes, we did not use the class name clock, but instead we used the class name time. Okay. So I hope that you have typed this program, okay, in your laptop or your mobile phone, and then you have run this program, and you have seen the outcome of. I hope that you saw the outcome of how the output gets generated. Okay. If you have not done that, okay, at least try it once. Okay, at least try it once. Run this program, type this program, and run this program. Okay, then you see the output that gets generated. Okay, and whatever output you get, okay, maybe you can write down here with your pencil, okay, the output that's get generated. Okay, so that for future reference. So today, okay, I'll skip this part. Okay, and then so question number 17 I'll skip. You can go through yourself. Okay, question number 18 I'm skipping, and question number 19 is question and answers. Okay, so it's about what you understand about member function, so it's explained here. So all these question and answers you need to study. Okay, so from here, um, uh, it used to come also. Okay, so today I'll explain to you about this program. Question number 20: define a class student for the following specification. So this program is quite normal program. Okay, however, yes, it does look complex, but it is actually not complex. Okay, it is actually quite easy. Okay, so yeah, keep in mind that this is also an incomplete program. Okay, this is only just a class definition section and member function declaration section. Okay, so this is an incomplete program. Okay, yes, later on you can complete this program. Okay, you can declare objects and then run this program and then see. Okay, so what is this program about? Okay, now if you'll see this program, the data members are declared as private. So these are the data members that are going to be used. We have a roll number, we have that is roll underscore number, which is of integer type, then name. Okay, so name, the name of the student, array of character of size 20. So that means this is an array name. So this is an array name which is of size 20. That means the maximum length of that student name will be 20 characters or 20 alphabets long. Okay, so that is the size is limited by that. Okay, so based then we have class underscore st, which is array of characters of size 8. So this class array, okay, this array name will have the subscript 8. Okay, so if you can see here, int underscore roll number character name 20. Okay, character class underscore s of, yes, like I said, there are typing mistake, printing mistake. Okay, here is written here st. Okay, so here also you should write down here st. Okay, so next is marks area of integer of size 5. So marks means what? So we have the student roll number, we have the student name, we have the student class, right, and also we have the student marks. Okay, but in this case marks is double. Okay, why? Area of integer of size 5. So in this case, now this, when I say area of character of size 20, it represents only one particular student at a time, right? Only one particular student. In the case of these marks, area of integer of size 5. So this array marks will have the size 5. Its index will be 5, which means that uh, it is about 5 subjects, calculation of 5 subjects. Okay, so that means it can enter marks for 5 subjects. So here this is the representation in marks. Okay, the index 5. So that means it will store marks of 5 subjects. That means it will create five array elements or five variables. Okay, starting from mark 0, mark 1, marks 2, marks 3, marks 4. Okay, which will store five subject marks. Keep that in mind. Okay, now percentage float. So that means based on this percentage, it means that the marks we have to calculate the percentage. Okay, and then so by looking at the data members, okay, we can get an assumption about what the program is going to be, right? So you can see here that okay, you have to enter the student name, you have to enter the student roll number, you have to enter the class, you have to enter the marks of five subjects, and then after that you have to calculate the percentage, right? So like I said, okay, just by looking at the data members and then the member functions, you can get an idea about the program buildup. Okay, then what is this? Now if you observe this nicely, okay, this is actually not a variable. Okay, this is not a data member, but this is a private member function. Okay, because as you go through this, see, calculates overall percentage marks and returns the percentage. So this is not a data member, this is not a variable. Okay, this is a private member function. Okay, so since it is declared under private, so this is a private member function. Now what this will do, this member function, within the body of this member function, it will calculate the percentage of marks. That means the percentage of marks in the case of what, the five subjects. So that means uh, marks 1 plus mark 2 plus mark 3 plus 4 plus 5, right, like that. Okay, but keep in mind that in an array, if we have to keep on repeating if we have to enter multiple data or calculate multiple data or display multiple data, we always use a for loop, right? So for loop shortens the process. So when there is a repetition of the marks to be added and calculated, so in that case we are going to use the for loop here in this function body. So and then after that it will return the percentage. So that means the value that we get after the percentage value, that percentage value will be returned back by this calling function. Okay, so that means we get an idea about what this data member, where do we use. So that means this percentage data member, this variable, is going to be used with this member function. Okay, so that means this percentage variable is going to be assigned to this member function because this is the calling function. Okay, and then this will call the call function, and then it will, in the call function, that the member in the function body, the percentage will be calculated, that value will be returned back and stored in this percentage variable, right? So see, and returns the percentage. So where will the percentage be returned back? To the percentage variable, right? Because this is where that percentage value will be stored. So this will be assigned to the calculate function. Okay, so a return value will be assigned back to the, when the call function returns a value back to the calling function, this variable will be there to store the value. Okay, now if you come back to the public member function, so read marks, so same way, read marks and invoke the call calculate function. So this is where you enter the data, that is you enter the roll number, you enter the name, class, marks, or you enter like that. Okay, and then invoke the call calculate function. Which function? This function. Why invoke in this member function? Because this is a public member function, but this is a private member function. The object cannot access the private member function directly, right? So inside this public member function, the first member function, okay, after inserting the data, what is the next step? To calculate the percentage, right? After inserting all the five marks, okay, what is the next step to do? You have to calculate the percentage, right? So that's why the next step is to uh, to write down this calling function inside this read marks. Okay, and once after that it calls this, it executes this, returns it back to the percentage. Okay, and store it in this percentage variable. So the next uh, member function is prints the data. So whatever results will be printed out. Okay, so as you can see that by looking at these members, okay, of the class, you can get an idea about the build up of the program. Okay, so step by step, if you see, first the class declaration, the class definition, where the data members are declared. Okay, I hope that you have no problem in writing down this one. Okay, you have the float percentage, float calculate. Okay, so this is the member function. So this is float calculate is private. The label private is not written, but by default these members are private. Okay, if it's not written. So float calculate, this is your private member function, uh, prototype declaration. Okay, this is your member function normal declaration. So that means if it is declared here within the class, the body of this function has to be outside of the class. And when it is declared, when it is defined outside of the class, the body of this calculate member function is, when it is defined outside of the class, how do you access it? Using the scope resolution operator. Okay, so then the public member functions. Now the return type is void. Why is the return type void? Because what is the purpose? It is simply to enter the data, right? Enter the data and calculate the call the calling function, call the private member function. And in the case of this one, simply to display the using the cout statement, right? So there is a simple compound statement process. So that's why this function is not returning any value to back to the main function. Okay, there is no return type associated, so that's why it's void. Okay, so this is a function declaration, so that means the body also is outside. Okay, the function body. So after this, if you see the function body, okay, step by step, so what happens once this is gets executed? What is the next step? The next step will be to read the marks, right? After this, the next step will be to read the marks, that means enter the data. So since this is your member function, your public member function, and since it is declared outside of the class gets terminated here, okay, by the semicolon. So you use the scope resolution operator, right? Okay, so using the scope resolution operator, you are able to access the member functions. Okay, so you identify this with the class student. Now within this member function body, what do? You entered, yes, they have missed out one variable, that is the roll number, right? So enter the roll number is missing here. Okay, so it should be cout enter roll number. It should be entered using the cin stream. Okay, in the case of the name, we use the gets function. Okay, so it white spaces are allowed. Okay, and then cout enter the class, gets class. Okay, so you get to enter the class. And then in the case of this, now the next step is after entering the roll number, name and class, what is the next step? To enter the marks. After that, calculate the percentage, right? So you can see that step by step it's going. So after entering all the data, next step is cout enter the 5 marks, or enter the marks for 5 subjects, right? So like I said, you use the for loop. Okay, so it for loop, and the counter variable starts with 0. Since it starts with 0, so I is less than 5. In case I equals to 1, here it will be I is less than equals to 5, right? Because the loop, if it starts from 1, it should be less than equals to 5. So by the time it becomes 5 equals to 5, till that it would be true, the test condition, right? But you know that an array element always index always starts with 0. So that's why when we use the for loop for an array, I is always initialized to 0. Okay, so when I is equals to 0, 0 is less than 5, execute the body of the loop, marks 0. So under the first array element, or for in the first variable, okay, I'll just use the word variable. In the first variable mark 0, okay, the first marks will be entered, suppose 50, like that, right? And after that, what happens? I gets incremented. I equals to I plus plus I plus 1, which is 0 plus 1, 1. So 1 is less than 5. Yes, true. Then it comes to the body of the loop. Initialization is done only once. Okay, so come to the body of the loop. It now becomes marks 1, right? I got incremented. Okay, I does not stay constantly at 0. It's like you're moving from this position to this position, right? Even if you come back, you have moved a distance, right? So you just keep going forward or you keep going backward, like that, right? Okay, so in the case of this, adding up, right? So you move one step at a time. Okay, so now I has become 1, so marks 1. So under the variable marks 1, you store another value, suppose like again 50, like that, right? So this will keep on going till 5 is less than 5. So when 5 is less than 5, which becomes false, the body of the loop does not execute, and this will come out of the for loop and execute the next line of statement. Okay, and in the next line of statement, after entering the marks, what is the next step? After entering the marks of 5 subjects, the next step is to calculate the percentage, right? So to calculate the percentage. So in such case, the calling function is written here. Like I said, okay, if you see here in this part, calculate that calculates overall percentage marks, right? So this calculate function will member function will calculate the overall percentage and return the percentage. So this function will return back the percentage value. So that's why here it is written here percentage is equal to calculate. So this is your calling function. This calling function will call this call function, okay, and then after executing this body function body, that value will be returned back to here, okay, and that return back value will be stored in this percentage variable. Okay, so that is how you build up a program. Okay, so I hope you have understood this part. Okay, so this is your calling function. So this will invoke this function definition. Okay, and then uh, execute this for body. Okay, so here a local variable is declared, float total equals to 0. We are going to use this variable total. Total has been initialized to 0. Why? Because it is being used in the formula here. Now if you're this is not the first time you are seeing this formula being executed, this part. Okay, if you remember array chapter, right? Array chapter also you have used this concept, right? I think in the starting program, sum of first 5 numbers, I think it's like that. Wait, sum of yeah, in your class 11 textbook, if you remember this one, right? So this is in yeah, array. Okay, page number 4.117. So you see that the same concept, right? Okay, sum equal to sum plus 0. So you have assigned the value sum equals to 0 because the sum is also used here, right? So similarly here also you are assigning total equals to 0, or you can write here sum also. Okay, so in the for loop, why the for loop is used? Because you are going to enter 5 marks, right, one at a time, and you're going to add it up. Okay, so if you remember that concept, right, so this means total plus equals to means total is equals to total plus marks. Okay, now since the variable total is included in your formula, so that's why he's given 0, because if you suppose if you make it 0, then you'll get the correct output. If just say randomly you just put the marks 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, right? So 1 plus 2 plus 3 right? Plus 4 plus 5. So you're supposed to get 15, right? So when you add 0 plus 0 plus 1 plus 0 plus like that, okay, then you get 15. But if you change this initial value from 0 to 1, you will not get 15, you will get 16, which is wrong, because marks of 5 subjects, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, instead of getting 15, if you get 16, that means you're calculating is mistake, right? So that's why total is assigned the value 0. Okay, so I hope that you know how to calculate this, right? Total equal to total plus 0, that means 0 plus, suppose the first mark is 1 mark, suppose so let's say 1, right? So that means 0 plus 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 will be stored in total, right? After that I gets incremented, so I becomes 1, 1 is less than 5, yes. So again, total equals to total plus marks 1, right? So what is the previous value of the total stored? 1, right? So that will be total equals to 1 plus, what is the next marks? 2, right? After 1, if suppose I'm just taking the first 5 numbers, right? 1 2 3 4 5, okay? So 1 plus 2, 3, right? Okay, so like that, if you keep on calculating, you'll get exactly 15. Okay, so you can, yeah, so for proof, you can use the first 5 numbers, 1 2 3 4 5, or you can use like 50 50 50 50, like that. Okay, so that way you can do the dry run method much easily. So similarly, that value will be returned back as per this formula. Okay, so that value returned back will come back here, and it will be returned back to here to the calling function, and that value will be stored in this percentage. Okay, so next, after, same like your input process output, you declare the variables, you enter the value, you process the formula, and after that, what do? You display the output, right? So that is where your next member function comes. So void display, so display marks. So display marks, similarly, you are using the for loops, because you have to display one mark at a time, right? Where is the mark stored? In the array element, right? So this array marks is used to represent all the array elements, that is mark 0, mark 1, mark 2, mark 3, mark 4, right? Because on those array elements, the data, the marks are stored. So how will you be able to display them? By using the for loop. So this for loop, the counter variable will keep on changing the value, and then that way when it changes the subscript, okay, that way the variables will be called out, and then you'll be able to see the marks. So see out marks 0 1, see out marks 1 2, see out marks 2 3, like that, right? Okay, so that way again you'll be able to display the percentage. Okay, so I hope that you have understood. Okay, so you can see another thing that you need to understand from this program is, okay, you see here that the complexity of this program, it's a it's a complex program, solved in a very easy way. Okay, why I'm saying it's a complex program is because here you see that you are able to associate with real life student, complete student detail. Your complete student details, you are able to do it in a program, real world problems, right? Okay, so normally in an array program, you are only able to, you in one program you'll be only able to, suppose like, calculate the marks and percentage. Okay, now it will not be able, you will not be able to enter the class and name. For that, maybe you have to write another program. Okay, you have to call the array strings, right? So like the roll number, the names, maybe in another program. So you have to uh, use the external variable, right, to call, to attach one program to the other program. Okay, but so that what I'm saying is that in using a normal function program or an array program, it becomes very complex. Okay, the length of the program will also increase. But yes, in a structure it is possible, but keep in mind that structures had flaws. So that's why classes and objects were created. So you can see that using the classes and objects, okay, you are able to combine all of that programs, 2 3 programs into one program, okay, and then solve it together. Why? Because a class has all these data members of different types, and all of these data members are related with this class student. Okay, and how do you access this? By the object, right? And who can access this? The member functions or the objects. Okay, so 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 that's why the object oriented concept is very important for you to understand. Okay, the first chapter after these classes, before these classes and object. Now the object oriented programming concept, okay, that is in the textbook, is purely theoretical. No programs are written there, right? So you have to understand the definition. My videos which I have uploaded, okay, try to understand those what I have explained there. Okay, and then if you don't understand, okay, search from the YouTube links, okay, because those are theoretical ones. But from the textbook you try to understand, okay, because you may not understand all at once, because there are only theoretical concepts are there. But as you go through these programs, okay, you will understand what is class, the definition of class, what is object, what is abstraction, what is encapsulation, what is data hiding using the access specifiers, private, public, protected. Okay, so based on your object oriented features, okay, classes and object, inheritance, the next chapter, that is also this constructors and destructors, okay, is based on these classes and object. So you should understand the concept of classes and object very well, okay, because the next chapter which we're going to start soon, okay, is also based on these classes and object, and also the inheritance, so and so. Okay, so try to understand object oriented programming and classes and object very nicely. Okay, uh, regarding the computer networking, okay, don't for the time being, don't you can skip out on that. Okay, you can whenever you are free, you just refer to the YouTube link that I've uploaded, okay, and then you can just memorize from the textbook, okay. But start on students, if you have not started, okay, I'm telling you, all of you, okay, you start soon on object oriented programming and concepts, and then classes and object, okay, because 2 chapters we have already finished. I'm now going through the solve exercises, right? So next chapter is almost there, and without understanding these 2 chapters, you will not be able to move. Okay, so spend time on these 2 chapters first. Okay, so tomorrow again I'll start with a new program. Okay,